I have no mouth and I must scream. This is a computer point-and-click adventure game from 1995, and I remember seeing this when I was in college in a magazine, a computer magazine at the time, and remember thinking it was a pretty interesting concept of a game, but at the time I wasn't ever able to find the game or purchase it, and due to, I guess, just life in college at the time, I just never did get around to playing it. Now, through the good people of GOG.com, they've offered this game up for sale fairly cheap. I think it runs about between $5 and $6, and GOG has sales all the time that you can get the game pretty cheap. So the game basically takes place inside of a supercomputer that has taken over the world, and there are 5 survivors left. And this computer is not a very happy computer, and what we'll do, we'll let the computer express in his own words kind of how he feels about mankind and what he has in store for mankind here in a moment. But we'll let the computer speak for himself right now.
Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live.
So let's see what Mr. Happy Pants here has in store for everybody after that wonderful speech he just gave.
109 years, I've kept you alive and tortured you. And for 109 years, each of you has wondered, why? Why me? Why me? I have a secret game that I like to play. It's a very nice game. Oh, it's a lovely game. It's a game of fun and a game of adventure. A game of rats and lice, the Black Death. A game of speared eyeballs and dripping guts and the smell of rotting gardenias.
Now, the game itself is reminiscent of many games from the early to mid-90s. It's a point-and-click adventure game. And for better or for worse, it does come with some of the problems these point-and-click adventure games came with, though I will say not as bad as many of them did. The problems these games tended to come with were you could play this game, or any of these games, and you'd get to a certain point, and you do all this stuff, but if you missed something earlier in an adventure, or didn't really go along the scripted lines that the adventure kind of planned out for you, it could essentially kill the game for you, where you'd have to start all over or start a specific scenario over. Now, this game isn't exactly clean of this, but however, it's extremely well programmed and written by Harlan Ellison, and he, I guess the way they wrote it, they really eliminated a lot of these problems. Now, however, there are some. Nimdoc's adventure, if you do something kind of wrong or different earlier in the game and you get to a place later, you can't go back and change it. And also Goyster's scenario logically is a little weird, so that was the one I actually had to look up a hint to. Otherwise, I was able to actually logically, due to it being so well written by the author himself, logically I was able to get through a lot of the game itself without having to look at anything. And I consider this a big plus, because many of these adventure games back in the 90s when I had them would frustrate me so bad, that I would get so pissed off, and I didn't want to look at clues either, so that made me mad. So if I had to look at the clues, sometimes I just wouldn't finish a game. But this game actually is very fun. The dialogue is extremely well written, and the story is extremely good. Harlan Ellison went back and rewrote the story a little bit for the characters from his novel or short story to kind of make for the game. He was never a fan of video games, but he worked with Cyberdreams, typed up a story, and the game has amazing dialogue. Voice actors are sensational, and the dialogue is actually kind of funny in some instances, and we're going to get to that right here in a second, and I'll let you listen to some of the dialogue, and then we're going to get into exactly what you're trying to do in the game.
I'm the established character. You're not even supposed to be here.
Now, the whole point of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is that the supercomputer, AM, he's become sentient long ago, and he destroyed mankind because he was built by man to fight war. And now he's to the point of where he is super angry because he's sentient and has all power and is almost like a god, but he's trapped. So now he's come up with basically a little test for the 5 remaining survivors of the planet, and it's supposed to be, about each survivor confronting their past and certain phobias or certain evil deeds that they did, and Am offers them possibly a chance at redemption, maybe escape, but it's as you play the game, you kind of realize it's a little bit more going on than what Am is promising, and it's really about each character finding themselves a little bit and maybe eventually ending 109 years of torment, because Am has been able to keep them alive for 109 years, and he's tortured them in various ways. Ellen is scared of the color yellow. Goyster has guilt about his wife committing suicide. Ted seems to be the one that there's nothing really wrong with Ted. He doesn't seem to have any dirty laundry in his closet, but yet Ted's here for some reason, and his story is also fairly interesting. Benny is an ex-commando that's done some very bad things as a soldier, and then we have I can't remember the other guy, Nimdok, which he's probably one of the more heinous characters in terms of what he's done in his past. And as you play the game, you have a spiritual meter and things, and you try to accommodate this and get it as best as you can and confront your fears and redeem yourself. So we'll look at a couple of the characters now.
Mother ugly machine. Mission worth undertaking. So it brings me here, junkyard, electronic pyramid nowhere. And yellow. Always yellow. Why does yellow make me sweat?
This is Tuttle's grave. He lost his life while under my command.
I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream offers a really enjoyable gaming experience, even for a game that's essentially, what are we talking about, 15 years old, something like that, if I'm counting right, 15, 20 years old. But even with the flaws of these adventure point-and-click games of the mid-90s, which are few, even for this time period, the game offers a very interesting story, a very compelling character, or characters, I should say, that you can pick from. You're dealing with the devils within each of the characters and their own paranoia, their own demons, and if they can rise above that or not. Each character plays differently. Each one's got a different set of circumstances that you can try to overcome. And some of these characters were very, very bad people in their former life. So it asks the question as well, can someone actually, given time, be different than what is perceived of them or what they were? Can they ever change themselves? And the game offers various choices for this. You can actually kind of go through different ways of doing a few of the characters, not all of them. I think essentially and this might be giving a little bit too much away, but you want to try to do good for most of the characters. But there's a couple that you can actually kind of get away with of doing some things a different way, and there's some variance in some of the puzzle solving. Just be aware, though, there are still some flaws with the game that are common to these adventure games of the 1990s. One being, as I mentioned earlier, that if you click something the wrong way or do something the wrong way early on, it doesn't let you know that. You can go a little bit further in the game and then get stuck and have to start over. And you don't know that. You'll have to do it. And this is commonplace for these games at this time. But it offers some very bleak choices. It's very adult subject matter. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you with one of these choices that you can make in the game. I give the game a 4 out of 5. Pick it up on GOG.com. It's an excellent game. Give it a chance. And thank you for looking at Skullbanger Media. I have a website, skullbanger.net. I deal with heavy metal. Check it out. And thanks for watching. I hope you liked the game.
This heart is mine.